So, massive welcome to everybody for today's workshop, which is manifesting your dreams and road mapping the future. So, normally every year we do a couple of hours road mapping and manifesting. But most of the time, if you've been to one of those before, it's very much kind of me sort of telling you what to do and giving you the kind of the instructions, but there's very little time to do everything that we want to do. So this year, I certainly wasn't feeling like creating anything in January. I just wanted to stay under my duvet and hibernate a little bit longer. And then as it came into spring, I was like, oh, yes, now feels the right time. The energy's coming back. It feels like, the nature's getting into action as well. I felt like, right, okay, now's a good time. And rather than, okay, give you more instructions, because most of you kind of don't necessarily need to know what to do. You need the space to do it. And so I thought a workshop would be much better. So here's some time carved into your life, or carved out of your life, to actually think deeply about what you want in a productive space and roadmap it as well, and do all of the visualizations, meditations, and challenging some limiting beliefs as well. There's some inner child work that I want to do this afternoon to really help you feel worthy and deserving so that receiving comes a bit easier. And so that's what we're going to do today. So there's plenty of time to actually do the exercises and work through the question of what you want to manifest and how you want to map it out. Today's about you and what you want, and I'll be on hand to answer questions, obviously. One of the things I'm going to take as a kind of prerequisite here is that most of you, I'm pretty sure, have seen the manifesting process maybe multiple times, especially from an NLP point of view. That doesn't mean to say that we don't all need a brilliant reminder, again, multiple times, but I'm not going to go right back to explaining the basics. No, none of you need the basics. So quick reminder, and then we're going to get into to actually do the stuff. Is that all right with everyone? And then we've got maximum time on meditations and exercises. Marvelous. All right. I'm going to do a quick recap on the manifesting ABCs. Now, obviously, ABC, there's all different ways that you can describe the manifesting process, but this is the frame that we're going to be using today, which is ask, believe, cherish, or ask, believe, receive. You might know it as ask, align, receive. However you do it is fine. And again, a quick recap. The asking is about being really specific about what is your preferred way of being. What does life look, feel, sound, experience like when you're being, doing, having, feeling, whatever it is that you want? Some of you will find it really easy to get specific. Others will find it easier to be sort of more general about what it is that you're trying to achieve. And the most important thing is the feeling, is how it's going to feel. That's the biggest and most powerful one. So rather than trying to imagine what something looks like, imagining how it feels like is a better instruction to the mind. So today, be as specific as you can, as specific as it matters. So if you're trying to manifest a perfect partner and you don't really care how tall they are, then don't put how tall they are into your specificity. It's much more important how that relationship feels. Yeah, how it feels to be in it. If there are specific questions, by the way, as we go around how to manifest money, how to manifest the one, health, and specific situations, please do ask them, because as we get to those stages, that can really, really help if we've been doing it wrong. So a lot of the time people are half doing it. There's little bits that they've forgotten or they're not quite doing it right. So please do ask if you're not sure. So asking and then believing or aligning is the next step. What do you guys know of as kind of believing and aligning? What for you, what is that bit? Is it the Rhonda Byrne acting as if, kind of imagining you've already got it, or is it removing limiting beliefs? What do you do for your believing?
It's more about aligning with your values.
Great. So yeah, values is a massive, I mean, if you can do that, that's hugely useful to even adjust your values to support what you want. What do other people feel like for them aligning or believing is about?
Hi Jess, it's Ross here. How are
Hello,
you?
darling. I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Didn't know I was coming on the course until literally 5 minutes ago, so
Oh,
this is great. What do I do? I guess I start for myself. I start to do small actions. I've got ADHD, so for me, I'll break it down and think what small things. What's the thing that's atomic habit type things? I'll break it down and
yeah.
start acting and doing, and
Yes.
that helps to me to align to where I'm going.
Brilliant. So a little bit like uh, the notion of Kaizen, which is the small continuous improvement bits add up to big things, and
Yeah,
that can
exactly
be
that.
really much more bite-sized. Great. So for us today, however you do the action of alignment, because asking for it is great. When you're asking for it, it is coming. The thing to remember is if you have set your intention and your RAS, your reticular activating system knows what you want, the key is it is on its way. Like a huge planet with the life that you want on it, it's coming. And the only thing holding it away is you at the force at which you are pushing it away. And that's coming from your subconscious, obviously, because your conscious is fully on board. Like, yeah, I want it. Unless you're conflicted, right? In which case, you're not sure what you want. So there's two planets trying to get to you. And hopefully, you know enough NLP to know to integrate those parts to help you figure out which way to go. If you know, right, it's coming to get me, I'm the one holding it away. There's a couple different ways to utilize the kind of, well, kind of two different ways to look at this. One is my belief that I can't have it or that it's not safe, it's not right, I'm not deserving. My belief is what's keeping it away. In which case, we need to find the beliefs to remove, not the beliefs to believe over the top. So the kind of affirmation where you're having to sort of, I am worthy of receiving an abundance, that is not going to compete with a deep-seated belief that you're not worthy of receiving, because that's 24/7 and has a lot of evidence to prove it. Your little mantra is going to struggle to keep up with that. So we want to make sure that we find and challenge, resolve anything in our subconscious mind that is actively working against us. And luckily, if you know NLP, EFT, you know you've got some of the tools to do that. And we're going to do some of that today. One of those tools could be just challenging those limiting beliefs. So we'll do that today, literally just identifying them and challenging the evidence. Another one might be to collapse anchors on the feeling that comes up when you think about how difficult it is to achieve, how impossible it feels. And that also will neutralize some of those limiting beliefs causing that feeling of kind of helplessness. And another one is the Esther Hicks method. We're going to go all through this, by the way, so I'm just giving you this right up front so that you're primed. The Esther Hicks method, which is lovely, is what do I want? Why do I want it? So that's a really important question. So, what do I want? Why do I want it? What's it going to give me? What's the feeling that it's going to give me? And then the next thing to align with it is how do I get that feeling now in my current life so that it can attract more of that same feeling? And this is a really interesting method because it's super simple, but also isn't the outcome most of the time of what we want the feeling. So if you can find ways to have even a fraction of that feeling now, you're on the way to having the bigger feeling. You're practicing the feeling. You're allowing yourself to have the feeling. So how could you get that more of that feeling now that will then attract more of the thing that you want? And that's about energy alignment. So everybody aware of kind of the energy of attraction, that the state that you're in tends to attract more of things that will give you more of that state. Is that familiar to everybody? Yeah. So the more you, there's a brilliant video. I'll see if I can find it for you and play it for you. But it's this guy standing in the mirror and he's looking at himself, and himself is responding as if it was the universe. And he goes, "Oh, I'm frustrated." And the mirror says, "Frustration, frustration, frustration." He goes, "No, I want, desire." And it's kind of, no, 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 hang on. And then he goes into, "I remember a time that I had this thing and I felt really great." And it was like love, bliss, and it's sort of showing you just how the universe responds in this beautiful, elegant way. And I'll get the video for you. So that one of the ways that how do we get into that state that we want to be in to attract more of the things that we want. One of the ways, the quickest ways to do it is to remove what's blocking you rather than trying to do anything over the top of it. Underneath our limiting beliefs is total belief, like whatever you tell children, they just believe. If you said, right, we can all fly, they're like, can we? Cool. There's no kind of pessimism or cynicism. There's nothing in there. So that suggests that everything that we have, that the limiting beliefs that are blocking good things coming to us, must be actual beliefs in there that have been put in there. So we need to find them, challenge them, release them, remove them, and then get into the state that we want to achieve. And that's how we're going to manifest more wonderful things. The third step, the cherish or receiving. I like cherish rather than receive, because obviously receive sounds a bit passive. It sounds a little bit like I'll just put my hands out and it arrives. Whereas really it's an active state of gratitude. And the reason for this is there's this great phrase that you already have the thing that you thought was going to make you happy. All those goals that you thought one time, that's going to make me happy. That's going to make everything better. You probably have multiple of those, but if our program running is to focus on what we don't have, what's not right, then what is the point on achieving anything else? Because we'll always be just looking at, what's not quite right yet, what's not there, what don't I have, comparing yourself to other people. And actually, you probably have loads of things that you thought were going to make you happy. That new notebook that you thought, look at that new note, that fresh page of my pen, and the handwriting's so neat. And then, a few pages down, it's like, oh, it's trash now. I need another one. It's, if you're lucky enough to sort of cherish it and love it, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit scrappy around the edges. It's the cherishing, the act of cherishing, that draws more things in and makes you feel abundant. So if you haven't sat and just in the sunshine and written a gratitude list in the last 30 days, thoroughly recommend it, because it does really make you think, gosh, actually. Those of you that are coaches, do you ever feel like that after you've been coaching all week, and the people that are telling you things, and you kind of come away, and I do this all the time, where I might be working with people who have on paper everything that you could imagine, they need for nothing, and they have so much in their life, and yet they're either about to lose half of it to somebody who hates them, or they are struggling with somebody that they work with, where they're amassing this kind of abundance, and or their children are struggling, or they're sick, or whatever. And I walk away, and I just walk into my my house filled with toys, where I might have been sort of complaining because the house is a mess, and it's not how I'd like it, and we haven't got round to painting that wall, and I might have felt a little bit like, and all the trees need cutting, and then I suddenly walk into this beautiful family with these healthy kids, and this guy that's made me dinner, and I'm just like, yeah, do you know what? I want the nothing, actually. I want the nothing that matters. And sometimes having that reframe of gratitude and abundance, and then I'm looking at that that messy floor with all the toys on it, and I love it. Yeah, then my kids have been playing here, and that I think is really important. So no matter what isn't going right, there are things that are going right for you somewhere, and it's okay to cherish those. So that's the Fast and Furious recap. Any questions? Is that all fairly familiar, hopefully? I would hope so. If it's not, you can tell me very quietly. Jess, I don't remember doing any of that. If you need any assistance or reminders, obviously we're going to go through the whole process today, so you'll kind of experience it. But if you do need any kind of reminders on the why and the self-fulfilling prophecy science things, it is all in the NLP Foundation course, which is in the app. Okay, so I can always ping you a link to the app so you can run over. There's a whole module on DDG and helping you understand the RAS and all of the science behind it. All right. Let me give you the manual. I will preface this by saying it's not fully complete, but it's enough that you don't print out the dark color pages at the beginning, but from sort of page 5 or page 4, these are the exercises that we're going to be doing today. So you can either print it off in the break time, or you can just have it on your screen and write in your notebook or whatever. But all of the instructions and essentially all the exercises that we're going to do today are there. And so you don't feel like you have to stick with what we're doing. If you're not someone who follows the rules, then you've got all of the things there, and you don't have to wait for us to catch up with you to be able to do what you want to do on your manifesting day. All right, so you'll have it there. I'll pop it in the chat. So the first exercise that we're going to do today is reflections. So not to start negatively, but I think sometimes I think people have had a really hard year, and not everyone's had the best year of their life. And so coming in and trying to sort of be like, right, okay, I need to start being positive. Actually, sometimes you just need to draw a line under the year that you've had and recognize that if you survived a very difficult year, then you should be very proud of yourself, because survival is a totally legitimate achievement. Let's face it, if you have struggled the last year, then well done, because that's an achievement, and that you did it without robbing a bank, or you did it without starting a cocaine habit. Like, that is all good. We are doing well if that's the case. So benchmark yourself against whoever or whatever you like, but just notice if you've been up against it over the last year. And let's face it, that there are some, life will hand you all kinds of shit to deal with. Survival is a legitimate outcome, and there have been definitely lots of situations in my past year that I feel like, yep, okay, survived that, done that, didn't set the world on fire there, but I did come through that, and that's okay. So I think we just need to say, what purpose did last year serve? However hard or easy or difficult, whatever, or wonderful, what purpose did it serve? If that has made you appreciate, when things aren't so difficult, great. If it's set you up for feeling like you deserve a better year, then that's great too. Either way, life has given you some experiences. It will have changed you in some way. It will have either helped you learn, grow. Hopefully it hasn't made you bitter and more sort of hopeless. But even if it has, okay, thank you. I'm now at a situation in a part of my story where people are on the edge of their seats wondering what's going to happen next. That's the purpose it has served. It has served as a rock bottom. It has served as something. So wherever you are, now's the time to say, right, let's draw the line from now to the next year. And that could be the end of the year or March next year. You could work from your birthday to your birthday, whatever your year looks like, whatever your 5 years, 10 years looks like. We will do that next. But right now, let's draw a line and reflect. Now, I'm going to suggest that you do this exercise on your own so that you can just take a few minutes. And I want you to take the position of you're talking to your past self who has been through that year. Yeah, so with love and grace for your past self, and treat it as if that person who has just come through that year has either done wonderful things and you want to be really pleased for them and say, well done, that's brilliant, or they've struggled and you want to tell them they did a great job. So I want you to take kind of a parental approach for yourself as you reflect. Does that make sense? So with grace and love and compassion for yourself, reflect on the past year. That is going to be on page 5 on the workbook. And I said, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to just write some things down. You probably need more time than that, but you can come back to it if you need to. All right. So for now, working by yourselves, get your cup of teas, and 5 minutes, just really reflect. So, what would you have done differently if, now that you've learned what you've learned? For example, if anybody has anyone seen About Time, the film? Such a beautiful film. Thoroughly recommend it if you haven't seen it already. But not to spoil it for you, but at the end, one of the best lessons that he learns about being able to time travel, so he can time travel back in time. And what he does is he lives his day and experiences all the worry and the tension of the day and the uncertainty of the day. And then what he does is he gets to the end of the day and then he goes back in time and relives it over again, knowing what's going to happen. And so he can just chill and enjoy it and be fully present in it. And so that's the ultimate benefit for him, let's say, of being able to go back and actually enjoy his life, because he's not in the tension and he's gone through that bit and then he can enjoy it. So if you were to go back to the beginning of the year and say, here's some great advice to get you through the next 12 months, maybe slow down, maybe enjoy it, maybe focus on this, maybe, and learn some learnings. If that's how you'd like to reflect, then do that. Okay, so if you're listening back to the recording, you can take as long as you want on this exercise, but for now we're going to take about 5 minutes. All right, so a few minutes to reflect on the year ahead. Who's proud of themselves? Even if you just write the list of things you've been through, who's bloody proud of themselves for what you've achieved? Yeah, even if that was I clung on for the white knuckle ride that was the previous year. Well done, you. Yeah, really good. So I'm really glad if some of you have come through it and you're actually not proud of myself. I'm proud of myself. Or, wow, first time ever I actually asked for help or whatever it might be. So if you can find a way to be proud of your brilliant self, for everything that you've done, both for surviving it and for all the amazing things that you've pushed through and achieved as well. Very good. How many of you did less and are proud of the fact that you did less? How many of you are like, oh, I always overdo, and this time I've actually reined it back? Yeah, good. How many of you set some boundaries? How many of you set some boundaries and are really proud of yourself? Because actually, yeah, even if last year was the reason that you decided to set some boundaries, that's a really good thing. Yeah, everything for a reason, right? Just how are you going to use it? As Michael Caine says, use the difficulty, use it to your advantage in some way, because you've done it now. All right, very good. So a good reflection. And now we can move into more of the where are we currently? So as a result of our life so far, where are you in, hopefully you've seen the kind of the wheel of life before. Now you don't have to break everything down into the minutiae if you don't want to, but sometimes it can be really helpful to look at how you're feeling in different categories. And those categories could be anything, but it's something that I tend to get a little bit tunnel visioned around my life, where it becomes sort of two categories, like work and family. Like there's not enough categories. And somebody asked me the other day, they said, what do you do for fun? And I was just like, oh. And they were like, well, what's the other category? Like the work and the family. Where's the other category? What do you do in that one? I was like, I don't really understand the question. And work is fun. And they're like, no, but when you're switching off, what do you do? I'm like, oh, that's a great question. And I thought, Yeah, that's a really good question. What do I do? Puzzles. Like, I like a good puzzle. And it was a really like nice question to sort of force myself to think, well, actually, yeah, what do I? Because I don't think about it. It's not, am I having fun? Yes, I do have fun. But work is fun. And so I'm not forced to think about it. I don't come home from a Friday, slump on the sofa and go, oh shit. Like, right, now for the weekend. That's not how my life works. So by breaking it down into categories and forcing yourself to think about those categories, you can set yourself up for a year more full and more satisfying because you're thinking about them. So your categories might be career, finances, health, relationships, personal growth, recreation, environment, spirituality. They may be others. There may be different ones. You might call them different things. So on the Wheel of Life, I'm going to give you a few exercises and then let you do those. So in one go, because you'll take different times. So we're going to do page 6, which is the Wheel of Life. And again, you choose the categories that you want. There's obviously 10 spaces, but you make your own wheel to as many as you want. Like for me, like 3 is fine. But choose where you are and then think, right, well, how satisfied am I in that area from 0 to 10? And then you can kind of colour in like how satisfied you are. So the more satisfied, the bigger that chunk gets filled in. You don't have to necessarily write why you're satisfied or why you're not satisfied just yet, but you can make some notes. But just think, yeah, relationships or, partner, how satisfied am I in that relationship? The very act of answering that question kind of indicates things that you might want to start shifting if there's any gaps. We'll do that in a bit though. So right now, just a really good impression. Where are you right now? How are you doing? And then when you've coloured in each of the segments, the idea is looking at how balanced your life is, imagining that if that wheel was the wheel on your car, how smooth the ride would be. So if you've got one that's a 10 and all the rest are 3, that's a very bumpy ride. It's not a very balanced or smooth way to live because one area is so great and the other areas are very difficult or problematic. So quite a lot. So sometimes it can be a case of, right, highlighting where do I probably need to put some focused attention to make it feel more satisfying, so more fulfilling. So that's one exercise that we're going to do. Any questions on the Wheel of Life? Most of you probably have seen it multiple.
Hi, Jess. Yeah, I've got one. So I've gone through a couple of years of Annus Horribilis, or whatever the Queen said, where everything's kind of fallen to pieces. However, I'm probably happier than I ever have been right now. But if I score it, there's lots of improvements. Basically, the short version is I've left the NHS.
Yes.
After 20 years of working in health, I've finally retired and done voluntary redundancy. So it's kind of reset everything to a 4. But actually, I know where I'm going. I've split up with an ex who I wasn't happy with. So everything's kind of about a 4. But I'm happier than I ever have been, if that makes any sense. Because I've got the freedom to do all of that again in a way that I want to do.
Yeah.
Have you just thinking about that as because when I'm scoring, I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's about 4 or 5, or 4 or 5. However, I'm great. I'm happier than I ever have been. I don't want it to stay the same. So how would I
happiness
approach that?
and fulfillment, different things. So really important. Happiness is a choice. You can be happy because your basic needs are met. Yeah. Happiness is how we feel, is a sort of it's kind of how we describe it when we feel essentially certain, loved and significant. Like on a basic level, I don't need anything. I'm happy. Yeah. Then there's kind of ecstasy and bliss, which we tend to think of as what we're talking about, but actually happiness is comfort. Is yeah, I'm happy. And sometimes we have rules about when we can be happy, right? Because can I be happy if someone else I love is sad? Can I be happy if, do you know what I mean? Am I allowed to be happy if, if I've failed at something, So happiness in itself is something you can allow yourself to be happy for whatever reason makes you happy. Yeah, it could be because you have freedom. And actually, do you know what? If I'm free and I've got a positive future, of course I'm happy. I can see, how I want, I've got control over my life. What else do I need? Then there's the act of creating your life how you want it. And I wouldn't do any of this to make you happy. Yeah. I would say if you're not happy, that warrants its own addressing by itself.
Maybe I said it wrong then. I think where I'm at is all of those are back down to a four because I'm starting again. However, I'm really happy and fulfilled that I'm at the beginning of a
Yes.
process. So all of these are processes, and I'm happy that I'm single for the first time ever because I'm able to work on me and I've got the freedom to do all of these things from scratch. So I mean, for the first time ever, I'm enjoying the process rather than looking at the end goal. I think that's
And
probably the best way.
that is the perfect way to be. So put it this way, if I am trying to win the Olympics, am I allowed to be happy for the 4 or 8 years that I'm training? If I haven't started learning cross-country skiing yet, and I would like to win the Olympics in 8 years, am I allowed to spend every single day of my life as happy as a little fairy whilst I suck at cross-country skiing? And wish I didn't. Yeah. So we can utterly wish out, not wish our life were different, but we can actively be working towards a way of being, experiences, a bucket list. But we're not wishing it away. We're experiencing our lives because that's what we're here to do. The Earth Tourism Board that I talk about on the hero's journey. The Earth Tourism Board isn't about pleasant experiences. You come here to experience things, a multitude of human experience, good and bad. And therefore, you don't have to wish everything away, just experience it. Right now, you're experiencing the joy of autonomy, the joy of freedom and looking towards the future. But when you're looking at, well, where am I in relation to the outcomes that I'm setting? Probably about 4. That's such a different thing than how happy am I? Yeah. And if you're not happy and you'd like to be happy, that isn't something I would work towards over a year. That is something that I'd work towards today. That's something that I would say, let's address that in the next week or so as to what you could do to feel differently and allow yourself to feel better despite circumstances. I think so many times people are like, when I get this, I'll be happy. When I get that, I'll be happy. You won't. Because if you don't know how to be happy when stuff really sucks, it's it's always going to be difficult because stuff will always suck in some aspect. So yeah. And I remember thinking that um even when I had postnatal depression, and I remember feeling it was so hard. And yet when I would say like, but I'm happy, I'm happy, but this is just really hard. And this is really like making me feel bad. But is my life great? Yeah, I wouldn't change it. Like I wouldn't change, don't take it away. This is lovely. But it's hard. I'm struggling with this. So I think that's the difference. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, it sounds like you're in the greatest position there, Ross, that you've got a gap of where you'd like to move towards, but actually emotionally your needs are met and that you feel autonomous and that empowered to do something about it and so on. Lovely. All right. So the next thing will be the wheel. After the wheel, there's a page where you can write page 7, where you can kind of write what are you leaving behind. And so this is really a chance after you've done the wheel of life and you've kind of gone, right, what's missing? If you notice any patterns in there that you want to change, so this is kind of like the laundry list. Do you know what I mean? Like why if relationships is on there, for example, what am I really fed up of having, feeling, so I suck at boundaries, or, write that down. These are the things that, okay, I'm done, flight, fright, freeze, flight, fright, freeze. I'm done having that as my response to things, or, I'm done playing small, or I'm done hiding, I'm done apologizing. whatever you kind of identify in that wheel of life as perhaps no longer serving you. A list of problems that you're trying to solve. Again, none of these are necessarily about happiness. They're just, yeah. If you're a life architect, what's not right? What would you put effort and time into shifting? And then just writes a list of kind of things to work on. This becomes something that you can then reflect back on, because if you are doing personal work on yourself, whether that's EFT or NLP, or you know, you sit and do change work on yourself, or you reflect or journal, this will be something that you can keep coming back to and think, actually, yeah, that's improved, or I need to work on that next. There'll always be something to work on, so it's not like it's going to be a one and done. But that's what I would do next. So if we just spend, again, another kind of 5-6 minutes just thinking about where are you right now, and then after that we'll start on the more fun stuff, on the stuff that you want to, the juicy stuff that you want to start manifesting. Did anyone else have a question?
I have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This was something that was just a message in the group, but it kind of came back as we're doing this, and it was saying that some of the things that we run away from or no longer want in life, they paradoxically come back to us. So, if we're trying to remove ourselves and forge a new path, but we're getting dragged back and something's coming back, how do we move away from that effectively?
Lovely. Okay, so depends what's drawing it back in. So if you are, let's say this is one of the main reasons why I love working with relationships, for example, is because of the patterns that we see repeated over and over and over again. And the sort of the coincidences where someone will say, yeah, I don't know, the last 3 bosses I've had have all been the same. And so you leave one job and walk into another one where the boss treats you exactly the same as the last one did. Or you say, I've been bullied at every organization I've ever been to. This is where, if you're running from something but you took the thing creating it with you, then it will just manifest itself again. And if the thing that you took with you is your expectation, then yes, you will continue to manifest it. And in relationships and patterns, these are often parts of ourselves. So if you have an expectation that people treat you a certain way, you probably have a part of yourself modeled on someone from your early life who treated you that way, and you've encapsulated that into a part of yourself, and then it resonates, kind of draws people in to behave that way to you, and you then go to the script that you use to deal with them, and that's where things keep manifesting over and over and over again. So in order to do that, there needs to be some sort of inner healing where you take the part of yourself that is ultimately modeled on the early, on that early person, and heal that version of yourself. So you resonate with healed versions of that person instead. And I think this is the biggest thing that I see, where you run from one thing only to fall into the next thing that's the same. So what we resist persists, remember, what we resist persists. It's not about staying in difficult situations. You absolutely should remove yourself from dangerous situations or toxic situations, but don't take the thing with you that's going to recreate it. So that could be your self-worth as well. That could be your boundaries that need to change. Anything that might have either attracted it into your life or allowed it to stay longer than the nanosecond that it should have done. Yeah. Does that make sense, Christina?
Yeah, I guess I've got work on limiting beliefs to look at then.
Well, yes. I mean, inevitably that we all will. Yeah, we all will. And this is you see this even when I think one of the things I would never wish to, like, anybody who sits there and kind of like, I want these massive dreams. I would almost not wish for somebody just to get them. Like, okay, here you go. Because it is so bewildering and discombobulating to give somebody who doesn't feel worthy and doesn't feel deserving and doesn't feel like they've earned it or isn't used to it or isn't ready for it everything that they want. And the classic one of these is the people that win the lottery and they haven't changed anything about their internal guidance system around money, and suddenly they have a ton of it. And so they don't know what to do, and their internal thermostat is panicking because what they're actually comfortable with is no money. And so they tend to do what, spend it on things and run out of money and like kind of almost reset factory settings back to what feels more comfortable. So changing that thermostat internally is a much healthier, more sort of more comfortable way of achieving things. So what we're doing today is we're saying, what is it that you would like? But very quickly we're looking at, okay, well, what needs to shift internally so that feels comfortable and easy and just comes to you. Yeah. It's not about walking on hot coals to get it. We know you can do that. Hopefully that answers the question. But yeah, we've all got work to do internally for sure. And the minute that you allow it, that you can allow and you resonate with that thing, it will manifest. Like it will manifest for you. So you ask, you get clear about what you want, and then you remove the limiting beliefs in the way of it. That's your job. That's the only work left. Not pushing harder, trying harder. That's just working against yourself. Yeah. Passion's fine. Hard work, we'll question that. All right, so has everybody kind of made some notes? If not, there'll be more time sort of to
Jess,
kind of
can
go.
I ask something,
Of
please?
course.
Regarding the Wheel of Life, although it looks like a simple tool to work with, I have a question. Usually we try to add all the categories that are essential in our life the way we think about it. For example, we need to include contribution and personal growth and whatever. But it's the first time because my life last year was really challenging. Right now, I have other priorities than the contribution and the personal growth.
Naturally.
So the categories are supposed to be the areas that right now we want to improve or are fundamental for us, or we include also things that are non-relevant.
So if
Always is a challenge for me, what are the life areas? Because there are the basic life areas, but now
I would
to open this time to play and give and receive and it's a different story.
I would say notice the rules that you're working by that would make you put contribution on there when you don't feel like putting it on there.
Sorry?
I said notice the rules that you're operating on that would make you put something like contribution onto your wheel of life when you don't feel like that's something you want to really focus on right now. There are no rules about what you manifest ever. And if somebody says to you, well, where's contribution on there, Marina? You say, off contribution, I'm not interested. When it's time for you to think, that's really important for me, I'm going to put that on my wheel of life, then put it on. Right now, if survival has been on your agenda, I dare say it would make you feel wonderful to take a day off, go and work with, with people that are far worse off than you and contribute to them. I'm sure it would be great. If that feels like something you want to do, great, put it on there. But honestly, it's your wheel of life. I don't put contribution necessarily as one of mine.
Contribution the previous years that I had surplus and I didn't have priorities of surviving. I mean, this year for me was restart the engine. So for me, health and stability and my finances and my career are far more important than I do contribute, but it's not that I don't contribute, but it's not the top priority contribution, for example, or any more seminars of personal growth. I mean, right now I need to start creating again my life.
There you go.
In every area. And it's the first time that I start, because usually, okay, how can you not have contribution and personal growth in your chart? But it's
this is the personal growth that you're doing is you're saying every put that on, because it's always about what I'm supposed to be giving and everything, what I'm supposed to be growing and what I'm supposed to be achieving. And actually, screw that. Actually, this is about me and what I want. And maybe you've got some really great boundaries to put in around that this year. And therefore, screw contribution,
Because to
screw personal
focus
growth.
my
Do what
energy.
you want.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you are contributing, and I think putting yourself under that, it should be contribution is something that most of the people I know, especially on this room, contribution is sort of hardwired. I don't think it's something that you necessarily have to even think about. So it's usually put on there as one of Tony Robbins's, the 6 human needs,
Yeah, the
variety,
growth
growth,
and
and
contribution.
contribution. Those are for people that are bored shitless in their lives and want more. Like, oh, I'm so bored of counting my £1 billion. I don't know what to do. Well, okay, maybe give some of it away or make you feel less of a shit. Do you know what I mean? That's great for them. For the rest of the population just trying to meet their needs. Sorry, I have a cat trying to eat my bacon sandwich. If you have emotional needs that are not met and someone says, what you need to do is just give more. Okay, most of the time you're not giving enough to yourself. So if you put contribution in there, fine, put it in there, but put it in, do I even give myself enough? Probably not.
That's
Do I
the
give
thing.
myself time, peace, grace, compassion? No, I don't. So that's where I'm going to start. Yeah, that's where I'm going to start. And then personal growth, not putting up with shit anymore. You decide what goes in each category.
That's
They're
another
your
interesting angle. Just thank you so much, because personal growth usually translates to more seminar, more courses, more
oh no.
certifications, more new things to learn. Although your angle, yes, I am working so hard on personal growth this year, but to totally different aspects that are actually more important for me to restructure my
Yeah.
life and get my power back. So yes,
That would be more sort of development for me, either career development or learning, study.
yeah.
Personal growth can be, right, that's it, not doing that anymore. That can be your growth, your evolving. So you put what you want on your categories. Nobody gets to tell you, oh, you should put contribution on there, because it's all relative, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? A lot of people have contributed more to the people around them by 10 a.m. than other people will contribute in a year. There is relativity here. So some people need to put it on there because actually it makes me feel good to contribute. I need to do more of that because that makes me feel really great when I do that. Other people are like, no, I need to draw it in. I need to put more effort on me and contribute to
Because
myself.
okay, it's very clear, and
Either
thank
way.
you, because for me, I realized that the contribution up until now for me was to the point of self-sacrificing. It's good to give. And then I didn't give myself. I mean, part of the reason I had this lovely story the last 10 years is that I thought that it's not religious. I was brought up that not being selfish and offer, and then I realized that I wasn't count mean. I was doing so many things for others that I need to put boundaries to contribution, because that's not contribution, that's
That's
exhaustion
it.
and consumption. Thank you.
Exactly. There you go. Brilliant. All right, so that served its purpose. Contribution, really self-sacrifice, draining yourself. That's done. Draw a line under it. I love, never ever avoid a rock bottom. Do you know what I mean? If
Jess,
you can get one. Oh, go on.
so
Never avoid a rock bottom. No, honestly, some of the people are kind of funny about the rules in life and what they've been taught. For example, not being angry. I'm like, why? Anger is brilliant. Anger tells you what you like, what you don't like, when you've had enough, and it gives you the energy to change it. So never sort of don't be angry. You don't have to be destructive with it. You don't have to make somebody else cry, but you need to feel that feeling of like, oh, I don't like that. And then what am I going to do, and direct it and use it, because it's so much nicer than helplessness. And so, using a rock bottom to say, okay, I have eaten enough shit now. I think I'm ready to not do that anymore. And that is the fire that is like collected and created in the rock bottom for people is can be kill or cure, can't it? And I think that you can have this long, torturous road, never really allowing yourself to get to the bottom, and actually sometimes just go to the bottom and then collect the fire that you need to escape that rock bottom and learn what you need to learn. And I think this is where it's not pretty sometimes, but it can be very effective. So, you know, if you can get the learning before the rock bottom, brilliant. But if you need it, then you need it. So yeah, go on, Amin, what were you going to say?
So on that slide where it says, what do you want to leave behind? And it all started with what's and what's. And it was funny for me because it was all coming up as who and whose. And I was just thinking that I suppose if you're experiencing things in relationships that you do want to leave behind, but you don't want the relationship to be left behind, then you have to dissociate what's happening in the relationship from the relationship itself and look at it as just like a what rather than a who. And I'm just thinking out loud here, just in case there was something more to think about in the framing of those questions, or whether just
Yeah.
thinking of them as behaviors without any context about like where they happen, who they happen with. What's the best way to have the level of connectedness to what you're saying, I suppose?
Yeah, so when it comes to relationships, it's easy to think I need to leave that person behind because they're the problem. Like if I wasn't with them, I'd be happy, right? And to some degree, yes, you probably would. But the thing to remember is you can leave a whole person behind and take with you the exact problems that created the situation, and you won't learn what you need to learn from it. So the greatest amount of personal growth that you get is from relationships, right? So if you're in a toxic, abusive situation, yes, you should absolutely leave that toxic, abusive situation because it's very hard to grow and develop if you are in a toxic environment. However, can't leave, or or don't want to leave, then you need to work on building yourself up and overcoming those patterns and what's familiar about this behavior and what script you're running that's making this not change. And I think that's where most of us don't realize that we're running scripts that are, from sort of age, sometimes age 1, sometimes age 2, sometimes age 3. Most of us are running our attachment issues in our current relationship. So if you don't need to leave for your safety, work through what's coming up for you. Why is this coming up for you? What feelings do you have in this relationship? And you can break a dynamic rather than the relationship by changing your side of it and just learning what feels familiar here. What script am I running? What do I need to change? And it's not necessarily easy, but that is where you need to focus. And also a very quick version of this, by the way, is that you can do later today, is relabeling the person, which is what you believe about them. And when you look at the labels that you have for people either in your relationship or people at work, the very label that you've stuck them in because of the Pygmalion effect, or the Gollum effect is the opposite, they can't change because everything that you're doing is seeing them a particular way. I'll give you the example. If this was a genuine example where somebody said they took flowers to somebody who was cross about something that they'd done, and they were like, well, flowers aren't going to make me forgive you. And they said, oh, I didn't buy flowers for that. I bought you flowers because I actually had already bought you flowers before I knew that you were cross with me. That I just wanted to give you flowers. And they're like, well, it won't work. You can't butter me up with flowers. And they refused to kind of change the label that they had for this person, which was, yeah, that's the sort of thing that you would do, right? That sends a very important message that you already think that's the way the person is, that they would try and butt you up, that they would try and get out of it, they would try and be, and even though, and you can't see that actually they did a very nice thing before they knew that you were upset. So the label that you have for somebody, have a look at that first, because that's you, not you being intransigent. Yeah, that's you not changing, because everything that they do is they've constantly filtered through this very strict labeling system that you have for people, and they've labeled you as well. But that's one of the fastest way to break out of a dynamic, is to work out, what have I labeled them, that everything they do is then filtered through that, and it prevents you from actually understanding and connecting, and because you think you already know their motives and you probably don't. So
Yes, is it possible to, is there anything on labels that you've got that we can have a look at later? I'm just thinking of big labels like narcissist, etc. Got someone in mind?
yes, I've definitely got a thing on relabeling either way, so I can give you that. Amazing fast process, but you want to break it down to, rather than the label like narcissist, what's the behavior, and also, yeah, I think, what's the behavior that you're seeing. If you have labeled them as, if they are officially a narcissist, then you might want to do the exercise slightly differently, but because you're like, you don't want to necessarily give somebody the benefit of the doubt, you just want to understand where they're coming from. And if somebody is coming from a negative place, like if they are coming from a, I will destroy you place, then relabeling that, if you sort of mean, like they are coming to destroy me, to they are absolutely terrified, right? So something, they are absolutely terrified I'm going to destroy them. Then that explains how somebody is behaving. Yeah. And then you can look at it slightly differently, and have more options for your behavior. Because I've never met a bully that didn't think they were the victim. And I get sent loads from corporate situations. I've never met a bully who didn't absolutely know they were the victim. It's looking at, why does that person feel so self-righteous? Why does that person feel that they are right? Where are they coming from? And what options do I have to be different with them or not be with them? That is also all right. So we're going to ask now. Remember, this is just a reminder. We're not going to worry about how it arrives. We are going to be completely delulu. We can ask for anything that we want. No one is going to tell you not to be ridiculous. No one, I'm certainly not. We don't care about how things arrive, unless how is part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's, I want to win the Olympics, how do you want to win the Olympics? You might want to choose what sport, obviously. But if you don't care how something arrives, then don't set it. So if I just want more abundance in my finances, but I don't care how that money gets there, we don't have to worry about setting it. If I do say, actually, I want more abundance in my finances and I want it to come through my service, I want to come through my business, and I want it to feel very passive and effortless and enjoyable, great, then you can create that. But it's at any level that you want. But it's totally legit just to say, I don't know, I just want 10 grand dumped in my bank account. I don't really care how it gets there, as long as it's legal. That's my only stipulation. Yeah, that's it. Just want, or maybe 100 grand. Yeah, screw it. Let's just go 100 grand. And I can feel what that's like to have it, and I don't care how it gets there. Yeah, that's whatever level. We just don't want to get fixated on how we do it. You can be as delulu as you want to. And I thoroughly recommend fantasizing, because for most people, we are taught to be so practical and realistic that it's almost a disability. So I would say that if you can intentionally be delusional, intentionally fantasize, it breaks you out of that rigid being realistic and practical. So intentionally sit there and say, right, fantasize, create, imagine that you could start from scratch. What would you have? Those sorts of questions are designed to get you out of the what's your next logical step, which is the most sort of boring thing. You know, it doesn't create passion, it doesn't create energy. This is your life. Things can change so fast when you're ready and aligned. What do you want? Yeah, what feels right for you? If you had to go back in time and visit your younger self and promise them that something brilliant's coming, what would you tell them? Would you say, "Oh, you know that position in finance, it's coming available. I'm going to apply for it. I'm going to apply for it, I am, and you're going to get it." Would she be excited by that, or would she say, "Really? What happened to the goals that we had when we were growing up? What happened to that? Did we find that unicorn? Did we get the thing and did we do the thing?" And you're like, "Oh, well, it's time for all of that. But right now we're going to get that position in corporate and, that position, we're going to get a steady job." You decide, but try to be as delulu as you want to be. The next question in the worksheet is the be do have, which I love. A really great set of questions from the Master Prac course, which is, who are you not being that you'd like to be? What are you not doing that you'd like to do? What do you not have that you'd like to have? What are you not feeling that you'd like to feel? Those questions make sense. You don't have to answer all of them, but I think reflecting on some of them is just a nice way to think about, yeah, where would I like to be? And that is on page 8 of the manual. And I'm going to give you time to fill all these in. And then again, you can do the wheel of life for where you'd like to be. So if you want to say, go back to the wheel of life and go, right, where would I like relationships to be? Then you can fill that in as well. And make some notes or whatever you want to do about what do I want to focus on. And if you want to kick some of them to the curb and say, "I don't give a shit about those ones," great. It's what do you want? So you've got wheel of life, and then these are all the exercises I'm going to give you to do. Okay. And then normal, obviously this is about a year or so. This isn't necessarily about bucket list, but it's worth thinking about what's on your bucket list because you might need to prepare. So I've got my 50th coming up next year, next June. And I was thinking, oh, what would I like to do for my 50th? Are there any sort of milestones that I would like to sort of do, or holidays I'd like to go on, or sort of, trips or whatever? And I'm not really particularly fussed about markers, like 50 is it's not really a big deal. But there are a few things that I thought, oh, I'd quite like to do that. But that's going to take a bit of planning and a bit of prep and a bit of work, a bit of organisation. Probably not as much as I imagine. But if so, I just need to maybe plan that out part of my roadmap this year. Maybe do some Kaizen, some small continuous steps towards it rather than a big thing later. But, that's something to bear in mind if there's something that's you like to do. I mean, I always think about playing the piano. So probably it's on my bucket list. Like I can play the piano. I just can't play the piano. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I can make it sound things, but I can't play it. And I want to play it at some point. That would be something I really want to do while I'm here and have human hands to do it. That's what I want to do. So could I include something like that in my year? And then to kind of round off the section, it's the theme for the year. Usually it's easier to do once you've thought about all of your goals and outcomes and things that you want to achieve. Once you've done it, you can kind of go, right, what does this year look and feel like to me? It feels like the year of health and wealth or healing and self-love. For Marina, it's not about the year of giving, right? The year of giving to myself or the year of self-love, whatever it might be. But yeah, you give yourself a theme for what the whole of the year is mostly focused on that will help remind you where to put energy, time and resources, most this year. It also slows you down from having to think you've got to do everything in a year. It's not very long. A year's not very long at all. So what does this piece of the puzzle kind of provide for you. What's, if it's part of a 5-year or 10-year journey, what leg of the journey is this? Okay, and that's on page 11. Okay, there are some spaces to create some movie scenes, but we'll do that after a visualization. So if I just give you sort of, at the moment, I would say, let me give you 15 minutes to go through some of those pages, and then we'll do visualization, and then you can draw some of your movie scenes after that. And so I'll see you in 15 minutes. So you're doing all of the up to page 11. Okay, so our visualization to experience your outcome for the end of the year. If you close your eyes and get really comfortable. All right. So I want you to imagine that the past stretches off in one direction and the future in another. And notice that you have a spatial relationship with time. And that if I asked you to float into the future, you'd have a sense of where you would float to, whether it would be up or down, to the side or the other side, or in front of you or behind you. So bring to mind where you would float to if I asked you to float into the future, and where you would float to if I asked you to float into the past. And notice that whilst it might be wiggly, there is a line there that you would move along towards the past or towards the future. And I want you to imagine right now that you're floating forwards into the future, right to the end of next year. And you can choose whether it's New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, wherever it is that you imagine there being a pivotal moment at the end of the year of reflection. And take a moment to orientate yourself into the movie scene at the end of the year. And take a moment and think about what you would like your life to look like at the end of the year. The lifestyle that you're living, being who you want to be, doing what you want to be doing, having what you want to have. Now, as you move through this experience, perhaps you'd like to try out a day or a week in the life of this future self. Are there any achievements you're celebrating? What do some of the areas of your life look like? Your career, family, friendship, adventure, personal growth, your relationships. What does your daily life feel like? Your finances, your emotions. Are you finding more joy in everything? Are you more balanced, more calm, more relaxed, more trusting? And how is your health, fitness, and vitality? Now you can take your time to really create the movie scene just the way that you want it. Seeing it how you want it to be. You don't need to have any idea about how you achieve it. Not yet. Just get a sense of what you would like, what you desire. And if it's the same as now, but you just want to keep hold of it, that's absolutely fine. There's no requirement to have more. You can keep what you have, or you can expand it, enhance it. It's entirely up to you. what the end of your year looks like. And replay that day, that week, even the whole month. Get a sense of what your daily life is like, what's included, how it fits together. See it just the way you want it. Notice what you're saying to yourself when you have it. What do you say to yourself in your mind when you have it? How do you stand? How do you move? How do you feel? Who are you when you have this lifestyle that you want? Where have you grown in order to have it? And as you experience that, I'm going to ask you a few questions just to help you realize what's changed. What are some of the differences in behavior that you're doing now or stop doing in this future outcome? Make a mental note of what it is that you're no longer doing or have started to do that's helped you have this, be like this. See if you can notice more than one or two differences in that behavior, and notice how easy those changes were to make. That it was like a letting go of something as opposed to having to motivate yourself to do something. It was an allowing, a receiving, a letting go. You relaxed into it, whatever those changes in behavior were. And as you notice those behaviors, start to notice some of the empowering beliefs that you have as this version of you that you didn't used to have. And again, notice what those beliefs are that allow you to be, do, have, and feel this way. What is true when you're this version of yourself? And focus particularly on receiving. Is it okay to receive? Is it okay that it's effortless? Is it okay that things come to you because they're right for you? That all the work that you have done in your entire life has earned these benefits and changes? That there is nothing new that you have to do to deserve it? That it's rightfully yours. The universe is returning it to you because it's rightfully yours. This is who you're meant to be. Perhaps without some of the conditioning that you had, you would already be here. So this is about letting go of those limiting beliefs that weren't yours to begin with. They weren't yours by choice. And underneath that conditioning, those limiting beliefs, are the empowering beliefs that were always there. Knowing that the delight you have on receiving something is what allows you to deserve the things you receive. That the universe delights in your joy, that that's the reward for sending you whatever it is you've asked for. And the more you cherish what you have, the more it wants to send you, because the more it delights in your joy. So notice all those empowering beliefs that allow you to feel joyful, allow you to receive and enjoy receiving. Allow you to feel worthy, allow you to feel enough, just as you are. Now take a moment to step out of that future self and imagine that you can float far enough away from that line of time where you can see your future self at the end of the year and your present day self, perhaps sitting watching a Zoom session, and get a sense of the journey. That line of time, however squiggly, that transitioned a version of you from the present day all the way along that line of time to the end of the year. You don't have to see the detail, but just get a sense of that transition, that shift, the journey that you've gone through over that year. Now float towards the future self, but instead of going into the future self, I want you to just float back along the timeline above it, all the way back to the present day. And as you come back to the present day, just pay attention to any significant milestones along the way. So ones that would make sense in that journey from present day to end of year. Just float back from that future outcome, noticing, oh look, that was a bit of a milestone there, that was a bit of a milestone there. Just notice some of those major outcomes, pivotal moments perhaps along the way. There's no requirement to see anything, just see if you can. See if anything shows up. And when you're ready, float all the way back to now. Reorientate yourself into your present day self, in your own body, looking through your own eyes, and come back to the room. All right, so we're moving from the asking into the believing and alignment section, and road mapping is one of the ways that massively helps with alignment. So it takes something kind of intangible and starts bringing it into the everyday, the journey, the steps, the physical, practical stuff that we can do for those of us that need to feel like there's something that we're doing. If you're happy just to kind of leave it as, I've put my goal in timeline, Jess, and I just trust that it will turn up, that's perfect. For everyone else, road mapping is really helpful, and also ensures that your journey is really enjoyable, because it's not just about the end, is it? It's about making sure our life feels right and that it flows the way that we want it to flow. So we're going to, over lunchtime, we're going to start putting this down on paper. Now in the manual, they're on page, ignore the bit about limiting beliefs for now, we'll come back to the limiting beliefs after lunch, but obviously you can notice them, that's absolutely fine. So in the manual, there is page 12 is about kind of drawing that movie scene. So if you have an idea of that movie scene from the visualization, great, draw it, annotate it, whatever, get a sense of where you are at the end of that year, and then some milestones along the way. So I don't know about you, but as I was doing the visualization, sometimes it feels like, oh, I can't really see it, and then suddenly it pops like, oh yeah, no, that's good. And then the milestones are usually for me more in terms of my identity upgrade. So more kind of like the confidence building, or things that happen that make me go, oh, wow, that's encouraging. Yeah, we're on the way. Whatever your milestones are, absolutely fine. We're going to program in 3 milestones and 1 end goal today in a goal in timeline later on. So you can obviously have as many milestones as you want on your roadmap, but the one in the manual are the ones that we're going to program into the timeline, into our subconscious. And then obviously you can repeat that process for as many milestones as you like. So on page 15 and 16 of the manual, there is a continuous squiggly line. It's broken across 2 pages, but it's a continuous squiggly line. I recommend if you have big enough paper, you can obviously do this. You know, I've got what's it, A3, you know, that I always do it on a big A3 pad. You do it however you want to. I'm sure there are more artistic people than me in here. And then I'm just going to give you the instructions for starting to put the roadmap together. And again, the point of it is not so that you control the how, but it's just starting to look at, okay, if this is where I'm at the end of the year, what might next week feel like on that journey, and work backwards from the end of the year. So, okay, let's take a goal like 50,000 followers on Instagram, let's say, right? Delulu goal, put it on there. Don't know how yet, but if I would, what would some of the sensible milestones be? Probably wouldn't happen all in the last week of just, December, but it might. But if I was to put that on the roadmap, it might be some milestones along the way, like, okay, the first 10K followers, how that feels and where that might go. Does that make sense? Or the first post, the first post on Instagram or TikTok or something, like that felt good. And then the first week that I did where I posted every day, that might be a milestone for some people. You decide. Okay, but it's just. Oh,
And
gosh,
I wanted to know, how do you differentiate between a milestone and the end event? Are they interchangeable? Because there might be different things that you want. Are the milestones part of the end event, or are they different milestones for different things? Because I'm sure many people want different things to happen throughout the year, not just one.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, when we're creating a movie scene of your life, and the movie scene of your life is designed to encapsulate all of the things in the wheel of life at once, at one point. So it's more about, if we're watching your life as a movie, we might hone in on your bank balance, for example, but that's not the movie scene of your life, is it? It's just the goal that you had about a bank balance. So in the movie scene at the end of whatever period you're working with, that could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be 5 years, it could be 3 months, wherever it is that you feel like that's a big milestone, let's say the end of year milestone, what does my life look like where I'm experiencing something where I can experience the relationships, the career, the money, it's all together, and I feel what that all feels like in my life, because that's how we experience our life, isn't it? Is all in one go. And then the milestones might be just aspects of that along the way. So for one, it was kind of like my course in June, having an amazing time on one of my courses. I'm not going to include my relationship and my finances and my children's health and all those other things in that little milestone. I'm just going to have that as that experience of that outcome of along the way. Does that make sense? Just that lovely experience. I could include all those other things, but if I just want to see that being a really great experience, then just see that as the outcome.
So are they interchangeable, then, milestones and goals?
Well, the milestones are just along the way to a bigger outcome, that's all. The end outcome is designed to be kind of like the movie scene of your whole life. So a movie that you watch will usually show you what we call the third act, which is how things end up for the character and what their life looks like at the end. And they kind of tie up all the loose ends, don't they, with, how everybody ends up.
Got it. Thank you.
So I want you to pour your creative energy into this exercise. It's really lovely. You can do it as many times as you want, but usually what I do is I draw, a thick squiggle, like a road, and then I divide it into as many months as I'm working with, 12, 13. If I'm doing a 5-year one, I'll do the whole 5 years. Then I'll put in the known events, birthdays, yeah, events, weddings that you're going to, holidays that you've already booked, anything you already know is coming, add those in as pictures, notations, dots, pins, however you're doing this, and seasons if you're doing seasons as well. But put things in so it gives it some, you've got some anchor points in there for stuff you know is already happening, and then you can work around that. Then I always kind of draw the either on the actual road bit or next to it, like a big circle, and draw my end outcome first. And then I put the milestones along the way. So big circles, and then I draw inside of the big circles what that looks like, annotate it. So I've got like this lovely visual depiction of these big scenes that I'm going to experience, the end scene that I'm going to experience. And then there might just be some points along the way where I might put this one. This one was one from a few years ago that I did, that I thought, that's obviously for some people they're like, that's a bit busy. But if you created that from scratch, you did it yourself, or obviously, so you did it bit by bit. But there were things in it, and I thought, actually, what do I want? I want to go swimming. You know, I want to go swimming every week. So I want to, or go to the beach. So I want to go to the beach every month. So I want to put that in just to really anchor that in. And you know, I've got events every week that I want to do, and I've got birthdays there, and I've got holiday there, and start putting in like the seasons as well. So I'm going to plant my lettuces there. Each week, then it brings it more to life tangibly what is actually going to happen. One of the big things that we do is we tend to overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5, because we want it all now. So we pile it in, and then the reality is when you start putting your roadmap in, and you're like, oh, okay, I wanted to go to 10 clubs, Pilates on Tuesdays, you know, aerial acrobatics on Thursdays, you know, gymnastics on Wednesdays, you know, poetry on Fridays. When you actually start putting that down on the roadmap, it starts to feel a bit busy. And it's like, oh, that doesn't feel the way I want it to feel, actually. And so you can start shifting it a little bit to say, that's not what I want, actually. Let me scale that down a bit and do it how I want to do it. So that's why the tangible day-to-day stuff is helpful. It also helps with limiting beliefs. So if I, let's say, want 10,000 followers in 2 months, within 2 months of starting posting on TikTok, let's say, if I put that on my roadmap and I suddenly go, right, what month would that be? If I'm March, April, May, okay, by the 1st of June, I want 10,000 followers on TikTok. If that brings up a really big feeling of like, oh, that's impossible, good. Because now I know I need to work on that limiting belief and not wait till December to figure out that I thought it was impossible. So by adding where you kind of want some of the milestones, it'll bring up some limiting beliefs, you write them down, and then you know, right, that's the work that I need to do. Including things like, you know, I want to get fit. It feels so intangible, like I want to get fit, or I want to run a marathon. When you actually put in the marathon training program into the roadmap, like that adds to your reality of each week, because you're going to walk it later. So you're going to go, actually, does this feel good? Is this what I want? Really? Like, I want the outcome, but do I want the journey? Really? Or do I need to shift something here? Why do I want to run a marathon? Oh, because I want to do something that feels really, really big. Could I not just do a bungee jump? That's a bit quicker. Okay, I'll do a bungee jump because that feels big, but it's not every week and every day of every week for 3 months. It's a testing zone, yeah? So you choose, you can either do it on a picture, you can do your squiggly map, whatever you want to do. All right. So this is the job for over lunch. So we'll come back. Let's take 45 minutes if that's all right, because obviously I'm happy to overrun, but I'm not sure everybody else is, and I really want to make sure that we get the inner child work done, and you get to walk some of this as well to really kind of, you know, feel the feelings and program in those outcomes as well. This isn't a one and done. Obviously, you can do this as many times, but I want it to be as good as a one and done for those people who don't get a lot of time. All right. Any questions
Yeah.
on the exercise? Yeah.
Yeah, Jess, Juliana, do you have any recommendations for, like, I feel like I have resistance to putting milestones. And I think it's because in the past I created milestones and then they didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
And then it actually made me feel worse. Or I put pressure because I can see I'm not hitting something. And so I don't know, it just kind of made the whole thing wobbly. So I felt like I feel resistance to put milestones. Do you have any recommendations on that?
Yeah, because if you're setting milestones as expectations, then yes, absolutely. Because your job isn't the how. And as soon as we put milestones in, it's kind of saying, I think this is how it's going to happen. So if I want 50,000 followers by the end of the year, then I kind of imagine I've got 10 here and 10. That's not necessarily how it's going to happen. The point of the milestones is not so that it happens then and so that it happens that way. It's to, first of all, bring up feelings about it, right? Because actually, what do I feel about 10,000? Oh, that feels really hard. Okay, great. Limiting beliefs, brilliant. I've got loads to work on then. It's not about it having to happen that way. It's helping me understand what that journey might feel like. If that's too much pressure, do you know what I mean? If like, oh, that milestone, I don't want that there. I don't want that pressure. I want it to happen when it's ready. All of those things are part of why we do this exercise. The road mapping aspect is a tool to help you manifest. It is definitely not, something to make your life harder. It's not, this is now what has to happen at all, because we have no idea how it's going to happen. Like, imagine if you want more friends. You can't put, okay, a milestone is, August the 1st when I meet my new best friend. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's as ridiculous as trying to set any of the other ones. But if a milestone along the way was actually meeting people that I resonate with, and that maybe it's not about my best friend, but actually meeting people and feeling comfortable being myself around people, that's a milestone. Not feeling awkward. That would be a really nice milestone. So maybe I'd like that to happen halfway through the year, where I actually just feel really authentically myself and hanging out with people. Don't know where, don't know how, but that would be a really lovely milestone to have, wouldn't it? And
Yeah,
think
so
that way.
sorry, on that note, just before I forget, sorry, I've got long COVID, everyone. I've got no short-term memory. I do apologise. That'll be on my year-long list. So I've been single for 2 years and very happily single after a really tragic 12-year relationship. I'm getting to a point now where I've done the work. Where have you gone? Oh, you've moved. Oh yeah. I've done the work on myself, as it were, and I'm happy being single. So I'm not longing for someone to be in my life, if that makes sense. So there's no pressure there. However, when I did my visualization, what did come up was a relationship and the fact that I am ready for that. If you're going to put, like Juliana said,
Yeah.
if you're going to kind of put things on there, people have got free will, so you can't
Sadly, yeah.
so you can't manifest someone. Well, you can manifest. Well, I don't know. You tell me. One of the things that I've had to work on is not choosing people who are emotionally unavailable for me from my childhood, which you know about. One of the things that I've kind of been working on is that. However, how would you approach that? I don't know how to roadmap a relationship, or because you just mentioned friendships, so it kind of brought that up for me because it's kind of my last piece of my big puzzle, if that makes sense.
Well, are you so some milestones along the way might be some experiences that demonstrate how different things are for you. So, for example, even if you were dating somebody, or you had an experience where you allowed yourself to be really loved and to enjoy receiving somebody's attention and their love, unconditionally, or whatever it might be. That might be something in the past you've not felt comfortable with because you've always been on the on the sort of the begging end, as it were, trying to obtain.
People pleasing.
Right. And so does it feel nice? Does it feel comfortable when you imagine being doted on? Are you ready for that? Is that a milestone that actually you could be like, oh, I'm actually all right with it? I'm actually all right with it? Or do I see somebody else doing the people pleasing and it puts me right off? Or can I meet in the middle somewhere? Can I have someone where I feel comfortable with them giving but not fawning? You know what I mean? Like, you choose. What would be a lovely milestone for you to go, my God, this is actually really nice. This is really healthy. This is great. Or they said, oh, they were gonna go away for a few days. I feel good about that. I feel great. Whatever your little milestones are for you, that's fine. It doesn't have to be the wedding bells, as it were, you know, it doesn't have to be the end point.
Yeah,
Just
that's helpful. Thank you.
how you feel is really the key there, isn't it? How you feel. All right, so that's what we're going to do for the next 45 minutes. And so you've got sort of 45 minutes to start penning and sending me pictures of your creativity. Get the Pritt stick. And you can ask ChatGPT as well to, describe, if you describe the scene, if you're no good at drawing, do cheat and ask ChatGPT to put you in in the scene. Give it a picture of yourself and just say, um, put me in this scene with X, Y, and Z, and print, copy, paste, cheat. Right, Caroline, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I've done this the past couple of years, and my roadmap has always been over a 1 year period, and it's worked brilliantly for me.
Brilliant.
The area that I'm like very focused on this time around is much longer term. And when I say much longer term, it's like a 20-year horizon. Is 20 years for this road mapping exercise just way too far out?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I would love to be able to comprehend 20 years. I think 20 years is brilliant. I mean, why not? Why not? Because I don't know if you know much about human design, but in human design, I'm just coming into my sixth line, which is where you kind of transition into another 50-year phase, where kind of the back end of your life, everything shifts and you become kind of a role model, and you have to kind of come back into doing things. It's really fascinating. But I would love to know what that looks like and decide what the whole, that next phase includes. But I don't tend to work that far ahead. But I'd love to, sit down and map all of that out and think, ooh, what could it look like? And, maybe if I do set some trajectory, that would be really helpful. Assuming that, yes, life may unfold a particular way for me and I can't guarantee anything, but why not? Why not do 20 years? I've definitely done, 5 and 10 years before. But again, it's not being married to everything. It's not,
Yeah.
if you strangulate things, because I think that's the point. There is, I don't necessarily know about fate, but I definitely like some of the ideas that, what, there's a life that I'm here to live. And if I am too directive about how it goes, there may be things that I'm going to miss out on. So I'm kind of open to a little bit like a seed has all the DNA and all the instructions for how to grow into an oak tree, if that makes sense. So imagine that you have all the instructions inside of you for how to live your best life here, not the external circumstances, but you and everything you have to give and be. And I think sometimes if you sit and you try and direct that too much in terms of what external things show up, it's a little bit like that seed trying to dictate what kind of leaves it has or what. Let's just be your fullest, bestest self and long for sunlight so you can grow the best that you can, and grow for, long for water so you can grow the best that you can into whatever you're becoming. I think that's somehow more sort of fatalistic side of things. So yeah, what does the next of you 20 years of you becoming the best version of you, the fullest, not the best, you are the best version of you, but the fullest version of you in all of your colours and all of your expression, what does that look like?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Right, enjoy the exercise, everyone. I'll see you and I'm here to answer questions.
Thanks, Jess.
So we're going to move on to receiving now, which is obviously inevitably the best bit, really, isn't it? Like that's the, you've done the hard work of deciding, but now we want to allow ourselves to have it. So receiving, partly about gratitude, partly about cherishing what you've got, but honestly, the biggest blocks that I see for people are when they just won't allow themselves to receive. And if you're someone, you probably know what your relationship with receiving is already like. For example, when do you ever ask for help? If you ask for help, do you worry that you've taken too much? Do you worry that you're being resented for being helped? Do you worry that you need to somehow return that favour more than you've taken? How do you feel about getting presents? How do you feel about giving presents? How do you feel about what you're allowed to have? How do you feel about whether you're allowed to achieve things or not? How do other people feel about you achieving things? What do you believe about working? And do you have to work hard to deserve things? Do you deserve things if you're given those things? Or do you have to earn them and work really, really hard? Do you have to suffer? Do you only deserve something if somebody else says it's good and that you deserve it? Does deserving come into it? What have you learned about money? When do you get money? Can you get money for doing nothing? Or do you have to overdo? Does somebody else have to decide that you've earned it and that it's valuable? Do you have to show up in person? Do you have to give blood, sweat and tears to get it? These are the questions that will dictate how much effort you feel like you need to put in before you deserve it. Now, what would be really nice is if you just felt a sense of, I'm allowed to experience abundance and joy. I'm allowed it to be easy. I'm allowed to not work hard and be miserable. The universe likes it when I'm happy. The universe likes being generous to me. Almost having a belief that the universe is tickled pink when it sends something to me to light up my day and I did nothing for it. Its favourite thing is to send me joyous things. Is to show me how good this stuff gets, is to show me, no matter what I've believed in the past, the universe's sole objective is to show me how worthy I am and how much it loves me. I mean, you choose how you want to experience receiving, but we may need to do some remedial work along the way, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is an inner child activity and just a bit of healing. And one of the ways to know what to work on your inner child partly is, has anything come up from what I've talked about receiving so far? My own experience was, if I was to say, for example, Mum, I've messed up, there would be so much shame first on the fact that I've messed up, that the help would almost feel like I'd rather just not be helped than have to deal with the shame first that I've made a mistake, because I just need help. I don't need the shame bit. Like, I already know wasn't ideal. I just want the help, but I don't want to have to put up with the shame, so I won't ask, because I don't want to risk that. So sometimes it can be that lack of autonomy as well. Somebody says, if you say you need help, they take it away, they take over. And then suddenly you're not doing it anymore and it's taken away from you. There's loads of experiences that people have had around, I want help, but it's taken off me, or I want help, but I have to be shamed, or I want help, but I don't really need you to do it. I just need you to support me, cheerlead me, or encourage me. With that one, you have to get really clear about what you want when you're asking for help, because people they'll just interpret it in what they would want. So if you are really clear when you ask for help, what do you want? Do you want someone to listen? Do you tell them what their part they're playing is? When I just want to express some feelings and have somebody validate me. That's all I need. Don't need anything else. And be really clear with those boundaries before you start. So yeah, so receiving can bring up autonomy issues, with I want to receive it and I want it to receive it my way. Which is fine. You're allowed to receive your way. So one of the sessions that I did last week was because I was thinking about this, and I literally thought about what did I learn about receiving, and I had some fantastic early memories. But one of the things I remember from my mum was, again, about that gratitude thing. That even when I was like 25 or whatever, she bought me a birthday present. She was hit and miss with presents and birthdays, but she did come around to my house and brought me this vase, and it was bright orange, and everything in my house was burgundy and white. Like that was my theme at the time. She bought me this bright orange vase, and I was thrilled because I had a present. But I said, Mum, do you know if at the shop, because I know which shop she'd gone to, and I said, do you know if they had any different colour ones? Because the bright orange, I don't know where I'd put it because it's beautiful, but I don't know where I'd put it. Mama was so angry with me for saying, like, for rejecting her gift, that she picked it up, stormed out of the house, and just took it back to the shop. And so she was like, well, if you're ungrateful, you'll not get anything. And so it was kind of like, yeah, this is why I don't like receiving things from people, because it's just, I have to get what you're given. Do you remember that phrase? You'll get what you're given. And I thought, yeah, that's been the whole experience of my mum and receiving, was you'll get what you're like. And if you dare to complain, you're rejecting her. So she'll be angry, and then you'll be rejected in return. So in the end, that will, for someone like myself, it was like, I'll just do without then. I don't really need all of that extra stress. I'll just get my own present. You're fine. Or I'll just say, oh, thanks, because that's the rule. And then, yeah, and not really be grateful because it's not what I wanted. So working through these things and allowing you to say, actually, do you know what? I am allowed to say that I'd like that and I'd like it this way. They don't have to do it. But it is okay for me to say, actually, if you are going to put the effort in, putting it in this way would be even better, thanks. And that's, you know what I mean? That's okay. You're when I did the inner child piece on this, the juxtaposition between when I saw my little self and how much I would have gone out of my way to make sure she had it just the way she wanted it. And it would have been effortless and joyful. Do you see what I mean? Like when you just light up, when my kids like, oh, I didn't want it cutting triangles. And now they can't eat the sandwich because it's not in triangles, it's in squares. That doesn't bother me in the least to say, oh, no, totally get it. I'll make another one. Like, it doesn't bother me, because if that's how you like it, then it's, I didn't cover it in gold leaf. Do you know what I mean? It's just the sandwich. I'll get you another one. But also teaching them to be specific. Tell me how you want it before I cut the damn bread would be good. Because I will accommodate you. Always. And it's a joy to accommodate you. Like, it's no bother. So if I can be like that with my own children, I can be like that with myself too. Does that make sense? I don't have to resent myself for wanting things. And because you are the person who ultimately is allowing yourself to have or not have things, then you should be the person who loves to accommodate you and to know that you're worth it. You're absolutely worth accommodating in the way, giving help in the exact way that you would like to receive it, in the nuanced way that you want to receive it. You're worthy of that and deserving of that. So yes. So let's do a piece of inner child healing. It will be a recording, so you can listen back to it. If you haven't got anything to work on at the moment, you can just do a generic one. But if you do have something to work on, then you can come back to it. And then after that, we're going to plant your milestones and your end goal into your timeline. Yeah, I'm going to plant those. You can come back and do that visualization. Sometimes just doing it without, you can just experience it and get some ideas. But if you've got your milestones there, that'd be great. We'll run those fairly close together. So we're going to start with an ecstatic state. So this is often one of the best ways to find out what your next piece of work should be. Like, what's your most prioritized piece of work on yourself should be? Where's your next piece of healing to come from? And if you think of an ecstatic state, potentially pertaining to receiving or some part of your life where you've just had this like perfect moment where it was just wonderful, and it could be to do with any of the outcomes that you're working towards, but like a time where you've had that amazing, even if it was a fleeting moment of bliss in a relationship or in your health, in your fitness, in your anywhere in your life whatsoever, think of that time now that you'd like more of that feeling in your life. So whatever feeling it is that you're trying to get more of in your life, think of a time in your life where you've had it, even if it was a fleeting moment. And when you find that moment, ask yourself what was present in that moment that made that feeling so amazing, and what was so absent in that moment that made it so amazing. So what was present in that moment that in everyday life is usually absent? What was present in that moment that suddenly made it so great? And what was absent in that moment that's usually present in your life? So for example, what was present was a deep unconditional love, or a deep authenticity, or a deep connection that's normally not easy to obtain. What was absent? Responsibility, stress, expectation. What was absent that is often present in your life? Okay? And when you think about the answers to those questions, what is that unwanted feeling or experience in your life that, if it was healed, would allow you to have more of those ecstatic experiences? Okay. So if you're looking to receive more and you don't feel worthy of receiving, that's the feeling that we want to heal now. So when you think you've got in mind, what is that uncomfortable feeling that comes up around receiving, that when resolved and healed will allow you to have more abundance, more of what you want? When you know that you've got that feeling that you want to resolve, just take a moment, close your eyes, relax your body and breathe, and focus in on the inner dialogue that comes along with that feeling, the rules that you live by, the fears that you have, the limiting beliefs about receiving, about being enough. And I want you to imagine that somewhere back in time, there is an event, a version of you, your younger self, learning this lesson, having this first experience where your younger self is learning about receiving, learning about what that means, about what you have to do, whether you're enough. And I just want you to set your intention to visit that version of yourself as your wise older self. Just get a sense of the age of your younger self that you're looking for. How old they might have been when they had that experience and learned about receiving and their worth, and what life would be like for them. When you have a sense of where you're going to find them, imagine that you can travel back there now and find them. Notice the room that you find them in and what's happening to them at the time, how they look, how old they are. And when you see them, just notice how they're feeling, what they're doing, and take a step towards them and introduce yourself. They will recognize you as being someone so important to them. They may have been waiting for you for a while. They may be incredibly relieved and pleased to see you. And allow yourself to move closer to them. And provided that they're okay with it, scoop them up and take them somewhere that feels very comfortable and safe. And sit down with them. And to start with, just hold them. And sometimes it can help to physically feel like you're holding them and putting your hands on your heart. Or if you need to hold a cushion, to physically feel like you're holding them, do that. And just know that you can sit there and hold them and let them feel safe and loved in your arms. And as you do that, just notice how utterly adorable they are. How sweet. How gorgeous they are. Just everything about them is so beautiful. So precious. So innocent. Wanting to do well, wanting to please, wanting to be loved, just needing guidance. And I'd like you to take a big deep breath as you regulate with them. And as they begin to regulate with you and feel calm and relaxed and receptive to what you have to say, you can share with them everything that you want them to know about themselves and the world and everything you want them to realize and to take with them. Let them know that they are enough just the way that they are. They are so unique and so special. They have so many gifts, and that you see those gifts. They don't need to do anything to be enough. They already are. They are worthy already. And that their life doesn't need to be about being enough. Their life is about experience. Life is about expansion. Becoming your full, expanded self. Life is about enjoyment, connection. Let them hear you as you tell them what you would have told them in that moment. That moment they were about to learn that they had to do something to be enough, or they had to receive in a certain way, what the rules were that would allow them to get what they want. Share with them everything they need to know. They're allowed to take up space. They're allowed to live their life. They're allowed to be themselves. They're allowed to express themselves, share their voice. And even if it wasn't safe for them to do it with somebody else, it's absolutely safe to do it with you. And you're going to parent them now. You're taking over if necessary. You're going to help them. You're going to show them how the world works, what life can be like for them. You're going to create that safe space for them. You're going to help them build confidence. You're going to guide them through whatever they need to be guided through to become the absolute fullest version of themselves. Now, if you're aware of the scene that they've come from, where they're about to learn something disempowering, ask yourself, how should this have been handled? And if there's anything that you need to do as an advocate, if there's anything that you need to say, anything you need to intervene with, then you can summon all of your strength and intervene. You can say what needs to be said and do what needs to be done, holding on to your younger self as you do it. When you've said what needed to be said and done what needed to be done, take your little self away again. And I just want you to hold your little self's face in your hands. And I want you to kiss their face, every part of their face, their eyelids, their little nose, their little cheeks. To stroke their hair and have them look you in the eye as you tell them you're wonderful, you are absolutely worthy of everything you want, and you're going to have an amazing life. You are unique, you are special, you are wonderful. And then you're going to ask them a very important question. Go ahead and ask them if they would like to come with you or stay where they are in that time. And if they want to come with you, then you have a couple of choices. You can either bring them back like a child in your own family, and you can raise them alongside any partner or children that you have now, or you can raise them all by yourself in a time away from time where it's just you and them, whichever you think would be the most wonderful, the most beautiful way to raise them. But you are going to raise them now. If they want to stay where they are, then just make sure everyone else in the scene is a safe place, and that they can stay and that you can visit them anytime. If they want to come with you, then carry them now into a life together where you are guiding them and raising them with patience, holding space for their emotions, for their tears, for their happiness and their joy, celebrating their successes and unpicking their mistakes with patience and curiosity. And give them the childhood they deserved. Somebody doting on them, their full attention, allowing them to be safe, to be seen, to be themselves, and watch them grow with confidence, understanding their gifts, their preferences. And imagine you can raise that child all the way through their life, from year to year, growing closer, falling more in love with them with every year they grow older, being so proud of the amazing person that they are, what a joy they are to be around, but how refreshing it is that they can experience their emotions and regulate their emotions, how they know what they want, how generous they are. And I want you to imagine that you can raise them, and around age 20 they're ready to go on an adventure without you. And just imagine that you can stand at the door. They're all packed and ready for their adventure. They're so excited. But they're ready. They're ready to go. And you're so proud of them. They look absolutely confident, happy, grounded, full of life. And they hug you and thank you for all that you've done. And just enjoy that hug, knowing that the real pleasure was in giving to them. The real pleasure was doting on them. The real pleasure was accommodating them. The real pleasure was holding space for them. That it was not a problem, that it was no trouble at all to give to them. And for 1 second, you realise how the universe feels about giving and how effortless it feels for the universe to give and allow people to receive. That is truly joyful, and there is no expectation on the person receiving other than just seeing them joyful and more joyful and more joyful and more joyful. Notice what words you would whisper in their ear before they leave you. What would you tell them? What would you tell them to remember? And what words would they say to you that resonate so deeply? And in the next moment, they're off. They've gone. They're off on their adventure. And almost at once, their adventures start racing through your mind. But you have to sit down because there are so many new memories flooding into your mind that they're creating for you. And it almost takes your breath away, the level of joy that they're creating for you. Their passion, their resilience, the trail that they're blazing in their own life flows into your body. You can feel it. That they're creating this for you. They're showing you how confident you could be with all of their experiences, their grace for themselves, their compassion for themselves, the joy, all of those new memories flooding into your mind, rewiring the way that you feel about what's possible in your life, about how you interact with your life, about your deserving, your worthiness to receive, and everything feels different. You feel different. You are so worthy. All those things that you want. There's a real sense of being able to receive. Things feel so much more possible than they did before. And as your younger self continues to be making memories, continues to have these amazing experiences and achieving more and more things, more and more memories, more experiences flood through into your body, creating a totally different wiring in your body of expectation. As they get older and older, and I want you to imagine that they're returning. They're coming back now. And when they see you, they run so fast towards you. And they throw themselves into your arms so fully, so powerfully, so intensely, that in a moment they have merged into your body and you've become one. Their gift to you was to gift you everything that you've given them. Breathe that in as you receive that gift and feel how much they love you, how connected you are, no longer separate, but one. And you can feel that force now driving you from the inside. Lust for life, that joy, that worthiness, those gifts, that expansion, that energy coming from deep inside of you. I want to imagine that you can float now, driven by this energy out into the future, noticing that it's feeling different already, clearer on what you want, more peace with receiving, no longer questioning whether you're worthy of something, but whether you want it, whether it feels like your path, whether it feels right for you is a better question. And you know that if you allow this to unfold, everything is just going to get better and better in every way. Trusting your inner self to guide you forwards. Now, taking a deep breath in and breathe out, and allow yourself to center back in the room. In a moment, you're going to come back into the present moment and allow this process to continue integrating and reevaluating safely and comfortably, as long as it needs to. And when you're ready, orientate yourself back into the room, feeling grounded and centered, and open your eyes. I'm going to go straight into planting your outcomes now. So if you don't want to do that yet and you need some time, take a break, and you can listen to this another time. If you're ready to go straight on and plant some outcomes now, then go for it. Alrighty. So we're going to program these 4 outcomes into your year ahead. So when you're ready, close your eyes and imagine that you're floating down a set of steps. With every step floating down, breathing out, getting more relaxed with every breath. And at the bottom of these steps, you'll find yourself in the most beautiful garden that you've ever seen, that represents the control room of your mind, a space where you can communicate with your subconscious mind in a symbolic way, a place you can instruct and communicate with your subconscious mind. Take a moment to drink it in. Whatever this garden is like is perfect for you. It could change day by day, depending on what you need. It might be a rolling landscape. It might be a small cottage garden. Anything that makes you feel wonderful is fine. A garden you would like to be in. Imagine yourself there more and more by feeling the temperature of the air against your skin, noticing the vivid colours, the smells, the sounds of the garden. This is a beautiful place for you to come and make whatever changes you want to make. And you can only make positive changes here. Your subconscious mind knows what's in your highest good and will take care of you. Now, you can do so many things in this garden, but today you're going to program your outcomes for the year ahead into your subconscious mind. Now, in the garden, time is represented by a river flowing gently downstream into the future. You can move along the riverbank, upstream into the past, or downstream towards the future. Along the riverbank, there are many trees that hold information about events in the future or the past that you may wish to observe at any point. Some of these trees might be fixed points, but most of these trees will represent events that can change depending on the decisions and changes you intentionally make in your life. If you ever wish to observe the events from the past or future, you need only reach out and touch one of the trees, and you'll begin to observe the event as if it were being acted out in front of you in its designated time and space. You can interact safely with the people and events in the scene if you wish, or you might just choose to observe and learn something useful that you didn't appreciate before. Now, you have the power to create your future and even change your past, but today we're going to create the outcomes for the year ahead at a deep subconscious level. This will enlist the help of our infinite subconscious mind to help us achieve these outcomes in a way that complements everything else that you want, that's in alignment with your highest good, and finds a way to utilize the ever-changing variables in the universe rather than trying to override them. Today, you're going to sow seeds along the riverbank representing your outcomes into the future. These seeds will grow into trees representing the events you're creating. Now, those trees will grow all by themselves, strong, tall, and solid. All you have to do is consider the outcomes you want to create. So let's do that now. Bring to mind some of the outcomes that you want for the year ahead. And notice if you can do that in the order that you want them. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 being the soonest, 4 being the end of the year. If you know the dates, that's great. But if you don't mind what the date is, then just have a sense of roughly when each outcome occurs or the order in which they occur. The more you leave open, the easier it will be for your subconscious mind to work around any obstacles posed. Right now, we're going to visualize 4 major outcomes, but obviously by listening to this visualization multiple times, you can do as many as you like. So let's pick the first major outcome for the year ahead, an important change in an area of your life that you want to make. Notice what life feels like and looks like when it's here, when you're living this way, when you're being, doing, and having what you want in the areas of life that you want it. Imagine as if it were a movie scene, where you're the hero inside the scene, living your outcome, seeing it through your own eyes. See what you see when you have it, hear what you hear, feel how it feels. Notice what you're saying to yourself. Notice the evidence that proves that you have it in your life. Feeling how great it feels. Enjoying the feeling of having it. Noticing who you're being when you have it. And as your subconscious mind receives the request, notice that down on the ground in front of you, you'll see the little seed that has been called towards you. Take the seed into your hand and keep it with you while we look at the next important outcome. Notice what life feels like and looks like when you have the next important outcome. When you're living this way, when you're being, doing, and having what you want in the area that you want it. Feel how good it feels, how right for you it feels. Imagine it as if you were in a movie scene, living your outcome, seeing what you see, hearing what you hear, feeling how it feels. Noticing the evidence that proves that it's yours. Hear what you say to yourself when you have what you want and how good it feels. And as your subconscious mind receives this request, notice down on the ground in front of you, you'll see the second little seed that's been called towards you. Pop that little seed into your hand while we do the next outcome. Pick another important outcome for the year ahead, and again notice what life feels like and looks like when it's here, when you're living this way, when you're being, doing, and having what you want in the area of life that you want it. Feel how good it feels. Notice how you stand, how you move, how you feel, how you think. Imagine that movie scene where you're the hero living this outcome. See what you see when you achieve it. Hear what you hear, feel what you feel. And notice what you're saying to yourself when you're living this way. Noticing the evidence that proves it's in your life. Notice how you talk to yourself when you have what you want. And enjoy the feeling of having it. And as your subconscious mind receives this request, look down on the ground in front of you and you'll notice the third little seed has been called towards you. Pick that seed up, pop it with the other 2 into your hand while we do the end of the year outcome. So next, we're going to pick the outcome you want for the end of the year. Notice what life feels like and looks like at the end of the year when you're living your outcomes, when you're being, doing, and having what you want, given the theme of the year, fulfilling the theme of that year. Feel how good it feels. Imagine as if it were a movie scene where you're the hero experiencing this outcome. See what you see, hear what you hear, feel how it feels. Notice the evidence that proves it's yours. Notice what you're saying to yourself when you're this person living this way. And enjoy the feeling of having it. And as your subconscious mind receives the request, look down on the ground in front of you, and you'll see the fourth and final seed that's been called towards you. And pick it up and pop it into your hand. So now you have 4 seeds. And interestingly, you may see a number of other seeds that represent other outcomes that your subconscious mind knows that you want for this year, or that may be related to the outcomes that you just asked for. Pick them all up, feel the incredible potential in your hand, these beautiful little seeds ready to transform into something bold, proud, beautiful, strong, magnificent. Now you can move along the riverbank towards your future and just be guided by your subconscious mind. Open your hand, and as you move forwards along the bank, the wind will scatter the 4 seeds and let them fly through the air, landing precisely where they are supposed to happen for you. Take a breath and relax as they nestle into the soft, moist earth, and the seeds immediately begin to sprout. The transformation beginning. Stand back now as the earth begins to hum, and the hum gets stronger and stronger until the earth beneath your feet begins to vibrate. The little seeds bursting into life, fed by the soil and the sun, roots growing down into the ground, creating strong, solid foundations, branches stretching ever upwards towards the sun. Instinctively now you can feel the changes taking place in your thinking, in your body, as the energy filters its way through your entire neurology, your synapses, rewiring your thinking perfectly towards these outcomes. As you walk forwards now along the riverbank, notice these trees are already fully grown. Find the tree representing the end of the year outcome. Notice how beautiful that tree already is. And when you're ready, reach out and touch the trunk of the tree and watch. Time speeding up, and you'll find yourself experiencing the outcome just as you want it to be. Allow yourself to fully experience the good feelings as you move through this scene. How easy and effortless it feels, creating certainty that it's there. How inevitable it feels, right where you want it. It's better than you could ever have imagined. Let go of the tree when you're ready, and knowing it's out there, this inevitable, powerful force, magnetizing resources towards you, you can start to move back along the riverbank to the present day, past all your other beautiful outcomes. You can reach out and touch as many of them as you want to on the way back. And as you do, notice other new trees that have begun to grow along the riverbank, representing other milestones along the way to achieving your outcomes. Resources that have already been called towards you. People, ideas, resources, everything's been sent for. Everything is on its way. Take your time to come all the way back along the riverbank to the present day. And take a few deep breaths. to really feel in your body how inevitable those outcomes are. That you have now asked for what you want, and your subconscious mind now knows where it's going, what it wants to create. And your only job now is to challenge any limiting beliefs that tell you that you can't have those outcomes or that they would be difficult. Because those voices that tell you that you can't have what you want are lying. They are not your voice. They are not your subconscious mind's voice. They are the obstacles put in your way and for you to overcome. You can absolutely have the outcomes that you have asked for. They are meant for you. If you have a desire for them, they are meant for you. And you can trust that they are on their way and trying to get to you. They are waiting for you. And you can let go of those limiting beliefs. Now, those limiting beliefs may take the form symbolically in the garden, perhaps of weeds or other obstacles that would make sense. And take a moment now to notice how those obstacles are showing up, even already. And notice how instinctively you know how to remove them in the garden. If they're weeds, you might want to pull those weeds out by hand. You might want to use a special kind of organic weed killer. Or, my suggestion is to summon to you now a guardian of the garden. A guardian of the garden whose sole objective is to do your bidding, to take care of you, to remove limiting beliefs. And watch as you give them the instruction to begin to remove all obstacles. Notice how they immediately set to work, tidying, stripping away weeds, ensuring the trees are pruned, that have sunlight, water, fertilizer, whatever they need. The guardian of your garden is on the case. So those limiting beliefs will be dealt with. Give your guardian permission to release and remove any obstacles, any limiting beliefs. Now take a step back, enjoy the garden for a moment, feeling the power that you have to create your future, enabling you to feel stronger and more certain than ever before. In your body, there's a new sense of certainty, knowing that you've called your future outcomes into existence and all the resources, people and events are being drawn to you now. That these outcomes are for your highest good and that you are working with all the variables in the universe in total perfection. Now it's time to leave the garden now, knowing that you can come back here at any time to make adjustments, to set more outcomes. Really, the extent of your imagination is your limit here. So now, leaving the garden, finding the stone steps floating up, each one feeling more and more alert and awake with everyone, coming back to the room that you're in, reorientating yourself in the room, taking a stretch, a deep breath, coming all the way back into the room, opening your eyes, feeling really good about yourself and your life in every single way. Hopefully I've given you some sense today of you are worthy of the space and time to think about what you want, and that you are worthy of accommodation and deserving of receiving, and the time to reflect on what you want. When you have a sense of it, to bring it into a practical sense and ask yourself whether that feels right for you, and does that flow nicely? Does that feel like the lifestyle that I want to live day to day, is the next step. And then, as in the meditation, the work to do at that point is just to keep aligning with whatever it is that you want, and looking at where those limiting beliefs are that, you know, that need resolution. So anything that is out of alignment with what you want, that becomes your work to resolve. And there are obviously so many different ways that we can resolve those aspects, and that's part of the journey, that we're not looking to be done on that. That's just a constant evolution of becoming your best self. Once you've got all of your pieces and your, you know, the minutiae the way that you want it, it's a really lovely process to get out in nature somewhere that you can walk in a particular direction and take a step into each week of that roadmap, and not necessarily always see specifically what's going to happen, but just get a feel for how each week flows, how each week feels, all the way to the end of the year, feeling the growth that you're receiving, kind of the confidence that you're improving, the joy that you're experiencing, all the way to the end of that year, to kind of make it even more tangible if you want to. There are some that I'm going to send you a visualization to listen to for collapsing anchors. And again, collapsing anchors is really useful for any doubts, self-doubt, or doubts about what's possible. And that can be a really nice housekeeping exercise to do every time you think, do I feel that's really possible? Am I frustrated by that not happening? Collapse anchors on it, and you'll probably knock out one of those old limiting beliefs along the way.
It was an amazing day. Thank you so much, and lovely to see you again.
How has everybody experienced it today? Obviously, it's been a bit different to normal. How have you found it?
I really enjoyed this way. It was both
me too.
sort of, you know, joint because we were all together at times, but also having the time away to, you know, not having to, you know what I mean? Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
same.
So hopefully that's been a really useful day, and I hope that you've got a bit more time now to, before any other responsibilities kick in, take some more time to indulge your whatever your needs and desires are. To finish with for today, I always think it's a really nice reminder. Obviously, we teach, you know, the academy, we would teach the science version of manifesting, which is about your RAS, and you're the one getting it, you know, you're the one seeing it and experiencing it. It's you doing it, because that's the scientific version. Over my 20 years of doing this, though, one of the things that I do love is where it doesn't have to be you doing it all the time, and it can be magical, and actually it can be just effortless, and it can just be about, you know, magic wands and things like that, and it can be spiritual, and it can be fate, and it can be just the relief from it always having to be you. And there's this one lovely thing that I like to do occasionally, and I like to remind people of, which is the kind of like testing the universe a little bit. There are so many synchronicities in life, so many messages that we could be receiving to tell us that things are going to be all right. And I think sometimes when you've been through, and I know so many of you have been through difficult times, and in those moments, if you can receive from something outside of yourself a message to say, you're all right, you're on the right track, it's going to get better, or, you know, it's hard and you're doing so great, and you know, a little message from somewhere, and it doesn't really matter where you think it comes from, but as long as you know it's come from somewhere that loves you. And I think, again, because today is all about receiving and asking, it's okay to ask for that message. It's okay to actually say, do you know what, right now I'd quite like a message. I'd quite like somebody to say, yeah, you're doing brilliantly. It's a sign of it's all going to be fine. The daffodils coming up is a sign of things getting better, right? There are signs all over the place, but it's okay to ask for one. So I tend to ask for something in the next 24 hours. Obviously, if it's a few days, great. But I want you to ask whatever you want to ask. And I just want you to ask, what is the sign for you? What is something? And it doesn't have to be specific, but just say, I want a sign that everything's going to be okay and that I'm on the right path. And I want it to be so obvious that it's for me that I won't have any doubts when I see it. The last time I did this was I'd asked for this sign, and within 24 hours, these geese that nest just in the field behind our house, it's so adorable. Every year they come back and have babies. And I remember I was sitting outside and I heard this noise, and it was like, oh, that's for me. That's for me. I know that's for me. That was the best gift that I could have been given. So what's your gift? Ask for something that's unmistakable when you receive it. Could be anything. You know, you don't have to decide what it is. You'll know it when you get it. But it will just give you this real sense of like peace, and yeah, it's all going to be good. It's all coming. Oh, everybody. So thank you for spending your day with me. I'm not rushing off, so if anybody has any questions, stay behind and ask me. But it's been absolutely wonderful to see everybody and to spend an extended length of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jess.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Get well soon, Karen.
Bye, bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.